So I appreciate y'all being here on behalf of the Coach Association. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We've got a great lineup, and we hope that y'all will continue to come and learn and be here with us. Next up, we got Coach Curtis Johnson coming up to introduce our speakers for tonight.
Good afternoon, guys. And we're blessed to have the University of South Carolina here tonight. I was lucky enough to play for Coach Lee when he was in South Carolina the first time. So I'm excited to hear him speak. I'm excited to hear all those guys speak. So we got Monte Lee, who is the Associate Head Coach Recruiting Coordinator. He's been part of 20 winning seasons in his 21 years of coaching. He was a head coach at Clemson for 7 years, the head coach at College of Charleston for 7 years, and assistant coach at South Carolina for 6 years under Ray Tanner. Then we have Matt Williams, who is the pitching coach. It's his first year at South Carolina. He's had 18 years as a collegiate pitching coach, spent 4 seasons at Liberty. 2019, he worked with the San Diego Padres, 5 years at UNC Wilmington, and 8 years at Spartanburg Methodist. Then we got Joey Holcomb. He is the assistant recruiting coordinator, assistant coach. His first season in South Carolina. He spent the 2 seasons at Campbell, 2 years at NC State, and 7 seasons at UNC Greensboro. And then we have Mike Current, who is the director of player development. This is his 6th season at South Carolina. He spent 3 seasons at USF with Coach Mark Kingston, then 9 years at Illinois State University. We're glad that they're here, and I'm excited for them to talk to us tonight.
All right, guys, how's everybody doing tonight? All right, so I'm Monte Lee, recruiting coordinator, hitting coach at South Carolina. Super excited to be here. I think all of you know, just from the very beginning, who I am as a person. If you've heard me speak before, this is going to be a conversation about how we train our hitters, how we coach our pitchers. So if you have questions, feel free to ask me, okay? It's just a bunch of baseball guys talking baseball, okay? My cell phone number, write this down, is 864-952-9070, okay? I'll say that again, 864-952-9070. I give my number every time I speak to coaches for a couple reasons. Number one, we want to dominate the state of South Carolina in recruiting. When you look at our recruiting classes, the 24 class, we recruited the best class in the state of South Carolina. We also have a bunch of commitments in the 25 class of some of the best players in the state. We want to be the school that gets the best players in the state of South Carolina. I have coached here my whole life. I've always made it a priority to recruit the state at a high level, and we want to continue that. Second reason I give you my number is I'm just like you. I have a growth mindset, always want to get better at what I do as a coach. If you want to talk baseball, you call me or you text me. Get in the car, get in your truck, drive to Columbia. You want to sit down and talk baseball? We can do it. Don't ask me to email you my PowerPoint, because every time I try to do it, it's too much information and it won't send. I'd rather talk baseball. I'm just a good old boy that loves baseball, passionate about hitting, and that's how I do things. So if you want to talk baseball, call me at any time. Everybody good with that? All right, good deal. So what I'm going to talk about hitting and how we train our hitters. Now, I'm very blessed to be able to work with a tremendous staff. Joey Holcomb's going to talk after me, and he's going to cover approach to hitting. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how we develop the swing, how we go about doing that, and Joey's going to talk to you about the approaches that we use when it comes to play discipline and putting together good at-bats. Okay, so the format that I put this in, I kind of thought it was funny. I put together the 10 commandments of training hitters. Okay, so I'm going to start and we'll get it going. The first thing, okay, the foundation from day one that we talk about with our guys are the 3 P's of hitting. Again, when you're coaching hitters, you have to make it simple where they can understand it. There's 3 P's that we go over first. We want to develop your power. Okay, that does not mean hitting home runs. We hit a bunch of them, but it's because we maximize what our guys can do when it comes to how efficiently they rotate. The driving force of your swing when it comes to maximizing your power, your engine is your trunk. Okay? It's not your legs. You use your legs to support your trunk so you can rotate properly. So when we talk about power, we're talking about trunk rotation. And I'm going to go over how we develop the rotation of the trunk with our hitters. Okay? That's power. Path. The path are your hands. That's the steering wheel of the swing. Remember, your trunk is the engine of the car. Your hands are the steering wheel. And a lot of times when it comes to coaching hitting, coaches start, and it almost starts and ends with the steering wheel. And the steering wheel is not the biggest part of the driving force of the swing. It's the trunk. Okay? So if you want to develop power and hit the ball hard, got to learn how to use your trunk. Okay? The steering wheel, the back half of the swing, the hands, we spent a lot of time working on that too. And we're going to go over that with you guys. The third P, which I'm not going to go over, is plate discipline. Joey's going to go over that. So that's our starting point. When we talk about power, hitter must engage his glutes, keep his hands back, swing from the core to maximize bat speed and power. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, connection. This is a big one. This is a big one when it comes to power. The bat is connected to the body. The body rotates the bat into the strike zone. The hands don't throw the bat. All of you guys want to be good fungo guys, right? If you don't use your trunk and you just throw the head of a fungo, you're a pretty dang good ground ball guy, right? That's a bad hitter, right? Do you want your guys to hit weak topspin ground balls? No. You want your guys to hit line drives all over the ballpark. Well, the body is the driving force in your ability to brace and hit the ball hard. So you want to train them to do that. Okay? Steering wheel, connection. Sorry, getting back to connection. The bat is connected to the body. We have to use our body to swing the bat. One of the big things we do to incorporate that, we swing a lot of heavy bats, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I would strongly encourage you, if you're not doing a heavy bat program with your players, you're doing them a disservice when it comes to learning how to use their engine. Bat path, the steering wheel. We spend a lot of time talking about bat path, how we train bat path, and I have it later on in the talk. We look at the plate. The plate is a compass. Okay? The plate is a compass. The back point of the plate is south. Front of the plate is north. We got east and west. So when you start talking about bat path with your players, okay, start talking to them about east-west swing or west-east swing when they are working around the ball. You get guys that hook the ball a lot and surround the plate with the bat. We just use the terms of a compass. Hey, man, you're swinging east-west. You're swinging west-east. What we want them to do is swing south-north. Hey, your bat path's really south-north right now. We take a little PVC pipe, and I'll show you in the videos, and we lay that PVC pipe right down the middle of the plate, and then I'll slightly turn it to right center field for a right-handed hitter. That's your bat path. We always want to swing away from our body, not across our front hip. That is a cue you can use that hitters will immediately understand. When they're swinging east-west instead of south-north, every time you swing south-north, you're swinging away from your body. When you swing east-west, you're swinging across your front hip, and we do not want to do that. We want a south-north bat path with our steering wheel. Okay? Simple concepts. Any kid can understand it. Okay? The foundation. We have to get into a really good position to hit if we want to rotate through our trunk. So I'm going to show you all those guys over here are Hall of Famers. Every one of them. And they all do similar things. Okay? You look at those guys. Let's start from the ground and work our way up. They have a pyramid of power. All those guys are 50-50. Their legs are equal and opposite. I'll stand up on the stage so you can see it. When they get 50-50, they're equal and opposite. They have a pyramid of power. Okay? Those guys are not like this. Are they? None of them are in their quad and like sticking their toe in the pool and reaching with their stride. They get in the ground. How many of you guys believe in the weight room? You believe in the weight room? Are your guys squatting like this when they get under the bar? When they trap bar deadlift, do they do it like that? No. What do? They get their heels in the freaking ground. They get their knees over their toes. What do? They engage their glutes and they pull. They engage their glutes and they drive the bar up. You got to get in the ground if you want the trunk to work correctly. So, when you're doing your drills, and I'll show you this, the very first thing you can do is put your guys in this position. We call it the Vado drill. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by this in a minute. Look at those guys. They get in a pyramid of power. The knob of the bat is to the catcher. They pull their slack out, and they're 50-50. We do a ton of work from just that position. We call it Vado drill. Get in this position, pause, feel it, swing the bat with a two-hand finish. Two-hand finish. Why do we want a two-hand finish? Because when you swing the bat with a two-hand finish, you're more than likely going to rotate through your trunk. If you finish with one hand, which you are going to do when you hit a baseball, the ball's away, off-speed pitch. A lot of times you're going to one-hand finish. That's fine. We know that happens. But when I'm in the training environment with our hitters, I don't want them finishing with one hand. Why? Because they're more than likely going to throw the bat with their hands and not use their engine. When they have two-hand finishes, they're more likely to rotate through their trunk. Does everybody understand that? Okay? So put your guys in this position. What does it look like? What do you notice about Vado? Vado's shins and spine match. Okay? So if you want to put your guys in a powerful position to swing the bat, okay, look at their shins, look at their spine. If those two match, they're dynamically balanced, they're in the ground, and they have the ability to rotate on plane and with their trunk. Okay? Everybody got that? If their spine angle is steeper, more vertical, they're probably going to swing downhill and be steep and handsy to the baseball. Okay? So these are things that we look for in our hitters. Okay? I'll get into this in a minute. You want to have good power. You want to use your engine. We call this the Bonds drill, even though this is not a picture of Barry Bonds. Because the first time I saw it, that was the reference. This is Harper and Bautista. What do you notice about their finishes? Their numbers are facing the plate. Okay? So our two main drills, we call them Vado and Bonds. We have our guys get into a hitting position and swing the bat. To feel the trunk rotate, we have them turn their numbers to the plate when they do some drill work. We call it the Bonds drill, where they literally will just hit and they'll feel the numbers of the bat on the back of their jersey to the plate. Now, we don't want them to like jerk around. We just want them to continue their rotation and turn their numbers to the plate when they're hitting the baseball. You want to see guys like keep the bat in the strike zone and start like whistling balls to the back of the cage? Have guys try that. It works really, really well for some guys if they have feel to their body. Okay? That's power. Okay. I'm going to go to the next one. Now, this is Talmadge LeCroy, South Carolina boy. This is a handsy hitter. This is a steering wheel guy. Okay? I'm going to show you the differences between like what he did when he first got here and what he's working on now. It's not a finished product. Okay? Let's look at Talmadge right here for a second, and we're going to go to the better video. In this video, Talmadge loads into his quad, and when he swings the bat, it's very handsy and above the shoulders, down. Okay? Everybody see that? If you look at this swing over here, when he strides, he's striding to a 50-50 position. The bat is connected to his back shoulder, and he's rotating through the trunk. Okay? So this swing over here is going to allow him to catch the ball deeper and center the baseball, right? We talk about timing a lot in hitting, right? Everybody does. More times than not, when we start talking to hitters, like, why am I struggling? Why am I not able to hit the fastball? Well, you got to get on time. You got to get on time, right? You're late. You're just not on time, right? Everybody says that, right? Well, if timing was so easy, why aren't they all on time all the time, right? Being on time is hard. We want to train our hitters to have connected swings where the bat rotates, the body rotates the bat into the zone from behind their rear shoulder so that when they're late, they can catch a barrel. Does that make sense? Because if you throw the head of the bat with just your hands and you don't rotate through your trunk, if I'm steep and the bat starts to swing above my shoulders down, the barrel is turning out in front of my body. The only place I can hit the ball is out front. So you better be on time if you're real handsy as a hitter. But if I get into a 50-50 position and rotate through my trunk, now the bat is working from here into the zone. I can even catch the ball deeper, square the ball up. Okay? So we want a swing that allows us to buy time and catch the ball deeper. And when we catch it out front, because we're using our trunk more, we're going to do more damage. Okay? All right, this is our warm-up routine. This is Dylan Brewer. That's a sledgehammer with a split grip. That's Ethan Petrie. All he's doing is pulling his rib cage down, throwing the ball, almost smacked him in the head. He's just working on rotating through his trunk. These are pipe turns. And I can play this again. We're trying to keep him stable and just rotating through his trunk. This is a water ball. Kennedy Jones. You can see them again rotating with their feet grounded, which I'll talk about in a minute. And they do this every day. Just turning the sledgehammer. It's very important that you activate the body before you hit. Very important. When you throw a med ball, I'm big on them throwing it right. Some guys will have their hand up here. We don't do that. You're pushing the bat with your hands. When you do that, you're not engaging your trunk. We always hold a med ball like this, load into our hip, and throw it into the wall. You'll see him recoiling in the back there with a PVC pipe. Recoils, which I'll talk about in a little bit, are critical in good bat path and trunk rotation. Just being able to swing the bat back and forth, equal and opposite. Now, another principle we believe in, and I'm not going to talk about that a lot. Anything that we treasure, we measure. Okay? Quality at bats. This is my game chart. I can send you one of these if you want it. Okay? We have 4 game goals. Number 1, 50% quality at bats. Number 2, 9 free 90s. Okay, free 90, a walk, HBP, stolen base, reach by error. We want to get to 9. Okay? A lot of that comes from plate discipline, which Joey will talk about. 1 big inning, 3 runs in 1 inning. 7 runs a game, those 4. We averaged 7.73 runs per game last year, which was 2 runs more per game than the year before. We also walked 200 more times. So when Joey talks about plate discipline, you're going to hear some good stuff. Okay? Because if you get on base with walks and you can hit the ball over the fence, those are the 2 things that a defense cannot defend. And if you're good at those 2 things, you'll score a lot of runs. Okay? So plate discipline, the ability to maximize your power is critical. Swing decisions, we measure them. Mike's going to talk about swing decisions. We send this out to our guys. This is where I got it from. If you Google most disciplined hitters in the major leagues, this article will pop up. In over the last 25 years, strikes swung at, strikes taken. Balls swung at, balls taken. Measure it. I did it by hand for years. I didn't have a TrackMan. You can do it too. Our goal is 80% good swing decisions. Strikes swung at, balls taken. Your best hitters take the most balls. It's that simple. Okay? It's that simple. If you're 80% day in and day out, you're going to score a lot of runs. Okay? It's just that simple. So we spend a lot of time talking about swing decisions and plate discipline in our program. Okay? More than we do mechanics, even though I'm talking about mechanics. Okay? All right, let's start to talk about the swing. We're going to start talking about the swing. First commandment, thou shalt load correctly. This is a WEC method footboard. You can write that down, WEC method. You know the Bosu Ball Company? They make these little wooden foot pads. And what he is doing right here, we just started using these. But what he is doing is he's loading into the ground into his rear heel. Okay? When I load into my rear heel, I'm a right-handed hitter. And I feel my weight when I start my loading mechanism go into my rear heel. The first thing that happens is my rear hip will come in. My rear glute will go over my heel. You see that? You can stand up right now and do it. If I just load into my heel, what happens? I load in, I don't load back. If I load back, I'm going to get into my quad a ton. If you load into your quad, back this way, and I was taught that way for many years. Load back before you go forward. If I load into my quad, I get in the ball of my foot. And if I get in my quad, my pelvis is going to slide when I come forward. That's not good. If you don't have a stable pelvis as a hitter, you're not going to rotate well. You won't make good swing decisions either. You ever see those guys that swing out of hand? You throw them a change up or a breaking ball and they just run out of bat and they swing at them. Why? Because they can't control their pelvis. A lot of those guys are quad dominant loaders. They load into their quad and they go back. And what happens is when they come forward, their pelvis rushes forward, which pulls your hands forward. Now you're swinging from here. Okay? Whereas when I load into my heel and I load into my hip, my head stays forward, it doesn't come back. Now when I load into my hip, now when I stride, I can get in a 50-50 position and I can lay off all speed pitches much, much better. Simply because I load right. One of our biggest cues, load in, not back. Keep your head still while loading. You want to make it simple? Think about it. I want you to load without your head moving. Just load without your head moving. And you'll load into your hips a lot better.
Monty, what does that little thing do?
It's a great question. So this little WEC method pad, what it does is it picks his foot up off the ground in front of his foot. It forces him to put his weight in his heel. So basically, and another way you can do it, if you don't want to buy one, I bought them, and our guys are starting to use them, and they like them. Another way we've done it for years is I'll have hitters take their toe and just curl their toes up. That's another way you can do it. Literally just kind of curl your toes up and learn how to feel yourself stay in your heel. But my favorite cue to them is just load into the ground. Load into the ground. The way that we try to get guys to feel this too as they're striding, as they load and they stride, is imagine you're standing on a weight scale. Okay? My rear foot's on the weight scale. And as I load, the weight scale is going to do what? It's going to go up, right? So if I push my heel into the ground, that weight scale is going up. When I stride, my goal is to keep the weight up. Don't lose the ground. Does that make sense? We want to maintain rear heel connection when we load and when we stride. Because if our rear heel starts to pop up early as this foot is hitting the ground, we're losing energy. We can't rotate through our trunk unless we get into the ground. You'll see again, this is tip it. Two-hand finish every freaking swing. Unless it's just a bad pitch off the plate that he swings at. Two-hand finish. You also notice the bat does what after he hits it? It recoils back. Okay? So, this is another drill. Thou shalt get 50-50, use the ground. These are two little Bosu balls. Now, one thing I will tell you guys too, when it comes to training hitters, this is how we train our hitters. We use machines, which we'll go over in a minute. I throw from about 20 feet away and I sit down. Why do I do that? Very, very simple. The average release height is about 6 foot from a pitcher, and it's about 5 to 6 feet down the mound. Okay? So when you think about the approach angle of that pitch, if I'm throwing BP from 35 feet away, more times than not, when I release the ball from 35, 30 feet away, throwing BP, the approach angle is too high downhill. It doesn't match the pitch plane, does it? If You sit in a chair and you throw the ball from a chair to about 20 feet, you have a much better chance of matching the pitch plane of an incoming pitch, so it's more realistic to your hitters. So we do a lot of BP. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. Take a hack attack and put it on the game mound. Tie a string to the round and pull that string all the way to a 2-foot tee, which is the bottom of the strike zone at the back of home plate. And then just take that string and just follow it till you get to where you feel comfortable throwing and see how low it is. Do we want to train our hitters to hit the right attack angle, approach angle of the ball? We do. Okay? So that's why we do what we do. We don't like flips. We don't flip. Why? Who's throwing a ball from down here? The ball's coming at a flatter plane. You're teaching your guys to be steep downhill when they swing the bat. You see anybody that's steep downhill swinging the bat, the only ball they can hit is up and out in front of the plate. They're not going to hit spin very well at all. Okay? So all we're doing is I'm getting him to use the ground. He can't load back. He cannot backshift on those Bosu balls. So he must be able to load in this direction standing on those Bosu balls. So it's great for them to find their natural balance point and athleticism without even talking about it. It's great for teaching them how to load without even talking about it. Okay? Their bat path will clean up. Their swings will be way more south to north when you put them on those small Bosu balls. We try to kill rotation with the feet. I know that sounds crazy. But when you take your feet and you get in the ground and just do this, your trunk is the driving force of that swing. When you do this, it's not. You lose the ground. Okay? So when we train our hitters, we try to kill the rotation with their feet a lot. When they hit on the field, we don't talk about it. Just go out there and hit. But when we're working on our swing, we try to kill the rotation of their feet. To force, again, good moves. We want to force the trunk to do a majority of the work. And there's a pretty good view. See how the bat drops below the shoulder, the bat is connected to the body, and the trunk is the driving force of rotating the bat into the zone. Thou shalt rotate through the trunk and brace at contact. This is a Dick's Sporting Goods Ethos weighted vest. You can look it up, Ethos, Dick's Sporting Goods. Take the weight out of it. We put this on him, and at a 45-degree angle behind him, we take a band and just pull it. We do this a lot as a warm-up. What does it do? When he loads, it pulls him this way. So he creates stretch through his trunk. When he hits, he has to feel his trunk rotate the bat. It's a pretty simple drill. This is another really good cue. You want to see guys smack the ball harder in the cages? Tell them to make your trunk feel like a brick wall when you hit the ball. That's a good one. So we use that one a lot. Feel like a brick wall when you hit the baseball. Feel your trunk tighten up when you hit the ball. Imagine taking an axe and striking a tree. All right? Imagine taking an axe and striking a tree. Would you do it just by throwing the axe with your hands? You want to brace when you hit a tree with an axe, right? It's the same way. If we want to hammer the baseball, we want to brace when we hit the ball. So we say it all the time. Feel like your trunk is a brick wall at contact. Okay? South and north bat path. I went to Lowe's. 24 inches, 28 inches, 32 inches. You can also use a bat. You can put a bat between your feet. I just cut these boards. We had these boards cut. Our guys love them. All they do, again, it promotes the pyramid of power, kills rotation of their feet, and it forces them to load correctly. You'll notice he'll load in like that. Two-hand finish with a good recoil. He's rotating through his trunk and he's balanced. All we do is put a board between their feet and have them hit. We hit off mini hacks with them, coach pitch BP. We do a ton of work with the boards between their feet. It cleans up their bat pass immediately. Okay? We use the PVC pipe. That's my little PVC pipe. Again, I just lay it on the plate and I tell them that's your bat pack. We'll turn it slightly to right center field if you feel like a guy's really disconnected and working around the ball. This is a very simple way to work with your hitters. Anybody can do this. Okay? Again, the plate is a compass. Recoil work. Now this is two ways that we do recoil work. So this is just the old school. Just watch this. I'll have him get grounded and just start swinging back and forth 2 or 3 reps. And then I start flipping him balls randomly. It's not a rapid fire drill. You'll see he'll start swinging and recoil the bat. And I'll just flip him a ball, flip him a ball, flip him a ball. And then I'll walk with it. Just getting him to recoil and figure out how to create force. Bam! Through his trunk. Bam! So when he's walking through, I just stand by him and flip. He'll hit it. He'll recoil and step through. Bam! 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 Every time he hits that ball clean, his bat path is perfect, south to north. Every time. And he has to get grounded and use his trunk to hit the ball like that. Okay? This is another drill that I like a lot for bat path. Okay? We just put him up against the net. And just the constraint of having the net right behind him, he can't swing east to west. And you'll see like his path's really good. It's really south-north. A lot of balls driven to right center field. Just move up against the net. It's a good take. Hard cutter down and in. You can see the swing is really working away from his body. Thou shalt emphasize external targets. Let's talk about external targets. Okay. Take a player and put him out on the field. Okay. We're all external on the field. You have internal cues and you have external cues. I encourage you all to read about them. Okay. Internal cues. Internal cues are within the body. So if I'm telling a player that I want him to feel something in his swing, or in his hands. Okay, when you take a player and you start to talk about how their body moves, and you start talking about swing mechanic things with them, okay, their brain has to slow that part of the body down to perform the task. That's called an internal cue. So if you're going to work on swing mechanics with your players and you're going to use those types of cues, the drill has to be fairly repeatable and easy for them to feel it and do it at game speed. Okay? Just remember, you start talking about swing mechanics on the field and you're hitting off a hack attack, he's got to slow his body down to do that. It's not very productive. Okay? Which is why we don't use internal cues with our hitters on the field a whole lot. Okay? What we do, first and foremost, is always go external. Pick a target out and have your player try to hit the ball to a target. Now the brain will organize itself to hit the ball in that direction. It's way cleaner. You want a real clean swing? Tell the player to hit the top bar of the L screen. That's my favorite target. The best hitting coach is always the top bar of the L screen, and they're in every ballpark. So we always tell our players, who's the best hitting coach you got? Top bar of the L screen. Because when I go into the cage, I always have one, and if I just try to hit the top bar of the screen, my swing will organize itself to perform that task, and it'll be way more efficient. Always go external first, okay? So you can do a number of things. Again, top bar of the screen is one of my favorites. We'll take hula hoops. We haven't put these up, but I've used them in the past. Put them in the back of the cage. Just put a hula hoop up there and have a competition. Who can hit line drives into the hula hoop in the back of the cage? Put it up above, slightly above the L screen. Okay, I'm going to give you another little tip. This is about an 8-degree line drive, launch angle. That's an 8-degree launch angle. If the ball goes just above it, that's 10 degrees. In big league baseball, a ball that's just above the L screen is a hit 83% of the time. Think about that for a minute. So if I hit a ball that hits the top bar of the L screen or just above it, you're going to get hits. Your bat path's going to be south to north. That's a pretty good swing, right? So if I put a hula hoop right there, and all you're telling your hitters, I want you to try to drive balls into that hula hoop in the back of the cage. You're promoting a good swing that's going to work in the game. It's just that simple. Okay? Just remember, external targets will always clean up swings faster. You got a guy that's hooking the ball, tell him to try to hit the ball in the bullpen in the opposite field gap. Or drive it through the second baseman. Or drive it through the L screen. You got a guy that's got juice, hit it to the batter's eye. Like adjust your targets to where you think the hitter needs it. If he's late all the time, tell him to hit it in left center field. It's okay. All right? So we use targets a ton in our training. And it's the first thing that we go to try to clean it up. This is our bread and butter. And I know Joey's going to talk about some of this as well. We prioritize using machines. Guys, we only did coach pitch BP a handful of times on the field this whole year. And Joey throws it and it's mixed and it's nasty. It's nasty. It's challenging. We challenge our guys in our environment every single day. This is how we set the field up every day. They're either hitting a right-handed and left-handed fastball, or they're hitting a right-handed and left-handed slider. One or the other. We just alternate each day. Why? This is a left-handed angle. This is a right-handed angle. The average release is about 3 feet off the center of the rubber on one side or the other. So if you're training straight on with your guys, what are you doing? No ball's going to come straight down the middle and center of the rubber. Okay? So when you throw DP, offset your angles. We do a ton of offset and onset angle with fastballs. Okay? You can throw these. You can flip these. Whatever you want. Throw them at the angles. Okay? Slider work. When we go to slider work on this, you want a good bat path with your hitters? Hit sliders. The breaking ball breaking away from you, the breaking ball breaking into you, you have to have good, clean swing mechanics to be able to hit those pitches hard. One of the best bat path drills you can do is simply hitting a slider. We do this every day. We just alternate.
Y'all still at both every day?
Every day.
Rotate rounds?
Every day. So I'll tell you, Hucks, what we do every single day. When we go fastball, Mike comes in, and I can get you the settings. If you want the settings, just text me. I'll give you the settings on what we hit. But now we're hitting equivalent to like a 90 to 93 mile an hour fastball at about 48 feet. Now we build our guys up to that, right? Like we're not bringing a knife to a gunfight day one. Like we'll start out at like 86, 88, and then slowly progress them, right? Okay? But you cannot train in space with a mini hack. Okay? Mini hack, you lose juice after about 40 feet, 40, 45 feet, right? It's a 70 mile an hour fastball. That one, you can get more juice out of it in space. It's not so much the velocity that's important to me, which it is important. To me, the most critical thing about hitting off of a machine is it allows you to train in space. I'm tracking pitches from greater than 35 feet like I would do if I'm a coach pitch BP guy. It's just that simple. We set those machines up. Michael set them into effective velocities of anywhere to 90 to 93 on a regular day. We hit.
So what distance are you setting them at?
Say again?
What distance are they?
They're at about 48 feet. Is that right, Mike? Joey?
We've been going 45 because that allows TrackMan to work, but
45 feet.
You know what the velocity is at 45 feet that you're working at?
it's like
Yeah.
78, 79 miles an hour.
78 and 45 feet is
Actual
going to challenge it. And the effective velocity obviously is closer to 90 to 93. Is that
Yeah, I
right?
think today it was like 78, 79, and it was anywhere from 90 to 93.
And we do it every day. Same thing with the slider. We set the slider machine. I don't know what the velocity is, but it's
Slider's like 69, I think, 69 to 70, and that's probably maybe a little firm. That's like an 80 to 82 mile an hour slider, so you might want to go even a little bit lower than that.
we hit them every day. And we set the machines in the same spot every day. So they're going to hit them every day. They're going to hit sliders on one day, they hit fastballs on the other. We do it every day.
You think that 45 is much better than 40 and 65 miles an hour?
I do personally, yes. I do.
Monty, you have anybody ever throwing to them?
We do, but again, we're seated throwing BP in the cage. We don't throw out on the field. All machine on the field. Pretty much all machine on the field is what we do. I think if you ask our guys what they would prefer, they would much rather hit off machine now because it's in our culture to challenge them every day. If you walk out there and throw BP to our guys going to be like, this isn't going to get me ready to play. In like the old school traditional mindset of like building confidence, we understand that concept, right? But like just throwing it down the middle and let them crack it, like again, like we're walking out there, we're facing a guy that's going 92 to 95 with 3 pitches. So like, are we really preparing our guys if we're not facing velocity and spin that they're going to see in the game? We're not. We're trying to make it as game-like as we can. There's a sweet spot to it. Like, we're not going to run this at like effective velocity of 95 at 35 feet and just blow their doors off, right? But like, we're looking for a success rate of about 40%. And Mike tracks all that for us, and we put it out to our guys every day. We tell our guys, if your success rate in this environment is 40% or slightly better, you're doing dang good. If you get on base 40% of the time, are you a good hitter? Well, your training environment better match that, right? It's that simple. Once you learn how to ride a bicycle, do you just keep riding a bicycle? No. Are you going to get better at riding a bicycle by just riding around your neighborhood circle the same speed every day? No. It's the same way in hitting.
Lonnie, I got another question.
Yep.
How many times do each hitter hit off at each?
It's a great question. So like, what we try to do is what we started out doing, and I'll tell you guys this. All right, let's say I'm a right-handed hitter. Right-handed hitter. We start out, we do 2 rounds on this one, 1 round on this one. Why? I want guys to stay on the baseball. That's just me. So like, I'm a big believer in being able to drive the ball to right center field. I want them from a mechanic standpoint and approach standpoint to stay on the baseball. So we do 2 to 1, typically the oppo angle versus the pull side angle. We have our guys hit this machine. I set this up fastball away and have them hit it the other way. This is the more challenging angle. That's called onset. This is offset, that's onset for a right-handed hitter. The onset angle, the right-handed pitcher angle away, is far more challenging than the left-handed angle coming into them. Okay? But a lot of times we'll take this one and we'll set it kind of middle to middle in, and they try to hit it up the middle. If they pull it, great. The one thing we try to eliminate is what we call the black hole, the pull side ground ball. Another thing you need to look at too, and I got to speed up because we got other speakers. Another thing too, good hitting on the field every single day. When I hit the ball the other way, what do I want the ball trajectory to be like when I hit the ball to the opposite field, low or high? What do I want? You want fly balls to right field? No, those are easy to catch, right? So when I hit a fly ball to right field, my swing is steep, I overspin the ball and I pop it up. That's a bad swing, right? So when I pull the ball, do I want top spin ground balls to the third baseman? No, that's a bad swing. So we need to define to our hitters, what does good ball flight look like? When I hit the ball the other way, I'm hitting the ball low. As I'm working across the field of play, my contact point goes up. When I pull the ball, I want to hit the ball over the left fielder's head with backspin. I don't want hooking ground balls to the third baseman or shortstop because you're out. So like, when we talk about contact points and hit the ball hard, they wanted to say, hey, when you hit the ball the other way, I want you to hit line drives through the wall. Really that simple. And as the ball goes to right center, then the left center, your contact point, the ball flight, goes up. When you pull the ball, I want you to backspin the baseball over the pull side guy's head. Because if you have it, this is our contact line as a right-handed hitter. If my contact line is like that as a right-handed hitter, that's when I'm in a bad place. Okay? Any questions on that? We do this every day. Thou shalt evenly distribute fastball and breaking balls. Our game at the college level, and I don't know at the high school level, I'm assuming it's probably close to the same, assuming that. We're seeing, it doesn't matter if a guy throws 98 miles an hour, we're seeing a 50-50 mix fastball, breaking ball ratio now. So you have to train accordingly. You can't go into a week of practice and 80% of your work is fastballs. You just can't do it. We do an even mix of fastball to breaking ball to the best of our ability. Now we know guys sit on their own, they're going to hit the fastball machine. We're always going to err on the side of hitting the fastball. Our priority is to be able to hit the fastball at a high level. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't prioritize making sure your guys hit an even distribution of breaking ball and fastball, they're not going to do it when they're hitting on their own. So in the practice environment, they need to hit spin. That's why we alternate fastball slider machine every day on the field. Because we want it to be a priority for our guys. You want to be good at hitting with runners in scoring position, you better be able to hit a slider. Right or wrong. Right? Because you're going to get them. They're going to spin the ball more with runners in scoring position. Okay? Thou shalt train with bat variables. We're going to talk a little bit about bat variables. These are just some of the bats that we use. Okay, how do we do it? That's the Vado drill, or that's actually the Bonds drill. This swing will clean up. And then that's the Vado drill. These are just two drills that we have our guys do when they warm up. Now all we do here, basically, hit two balls hard with a regular bat, drop that bat, pick up a heavy bat. Once you square two balls up with that one, drop that bat, pick up an aluminum bat. And what you're doing by doing that is you're creating different fields that that player has to adjust to maximize his swing. Okay, the different weights of the bats, your swing path will clean up pretty quickly because your body has to organize itself with that different weight to perform the task of hitting the ball hard. That's why we like heavy bats so much. When you put a heavy bat in a player's hand, his body has to swing the bat. He can't be pushy and handsy with a heavy bat. So we do two drills a lot with our guys. Get them in a hitting position, and then just have them hit. And then switch bats out like every two balls squared up. And you can do these drills off of short BP. I've done them off machine. You can certainly do them off of the tee. Thou shalt prioritize taking balls as much as hitting strikes. How many times when you throw a ball in the cage do you tell your guys, good take, great take, good job of taking a ball right there? Your best hitters take the most balls. It's just that simple. So it has to be part of what you do and what you preach to your hitters every single day. Joey says it all the time. We say it constantly. Good take, great take. And he's going to talk a little bit about that with you guys here in a little bit. But we have to practice this daily. You have to practice taking pitches. When it's a ball, we want them to take it, and we want to tell them, great take. And that's it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.